going on, fellow tryhards? It's Tom with Tryhard Gaming, bringing you back a brand new deck profile. So this go around, I have done a little trading and swapping with a buddy of mine, and I picked up the RescueACE core. I decided to play around with this deck because after the ban list hit, this deck still seems to be one of the best decks in the room. Even after putting this card to 1, Airlifter to 1, it does hit the deck a little bit, but with Emergency at 3, this is still pretty solid. Oh, well, here, I might actually go ahead and put this light on. There we go. So, one of the things that I kind of like about I like this deck is it's kind of resilient, and it just does a whole lot. After doing some playtesting with it, I understand why people are throwing this with the Fire King stuff, like what Paxless did, where he won, I think it was the Utah regional. But I think this deck is going to be more just along the lines of your stock and standard. And it is kind of low to the ground. This is a 40 flat. Beforehand, after this card got hit to 1, I was running one of each of, or a Reinforce and a second copy of HQ to make it 42, because I'm a big fan of 42 card builds. I don't know why, just what I've been playing ever since I got back into the game, and I just like having those extra 2 cards, whether it be 2 utility cards or just anything like that. But without further ado, let's kind of go ahead and get into the deck list. So we'll start off with our main board here, and we have, of course, your 1 stock and standard now. Well, that used to be 3, your Airlifter. Just a good search card. I really enjoy this card. I think it's just, it's one of the lifebloods of the deck, and I think you really want to see this if you can. And it's just another way to have another body on board to quick effect, tribute, special something out. So it seems to be the main thing for this deck. We have your 2 preventers. Thought about bumping this to 3. Don't think you need 3 though. It's really handy to have, just to be able to, whenever it hits the graveyard, you're just able to bring something back from banished. So if you decide to banish your Hydra off of part of your combo, then you're able to bring it back using Preventer effect to immediately have it again. So it's just really good to have. And then another card that I wasn't expecting to shoot through the roof because of the reprints, but 3 Impulse. I love this card at 3. I've seen people run this at 1. There's the big debate whether you run this at 1 or you run it at 3. Personally, I love this card at 3. I think that is the way to run it. Just be able to see this card, especially if you're not going first. It's just really important. And even if you're going first as well, if you're playing a deck that, specials during your turn, which is most decks now, you just really want to be able to pitch it and then special something out, like a Turbulence or a Hydrant or something during your opponent's turn. So it's really good to have. And then of course your main searcher for the deck, you have your Hydrant. Hydrant is probably one of the craziest cards, because whenever you set something, it allows you to activate one of those. So it's like if you're going second, you set one of the traps. While he's on field, you are able to activate one of them. So that makes it really intriguing, and adds a whole nother dynamic. Plus, if you decide to run Anima, you can just link him off into an Anima. A lot of people play into it and don't really realize it, but I think most people now are going to kind of be wary of it. So I don't really, and that's another thing I'd like to mention. I don't run Anima in my list, I don't believe, because of the pure fact that everybody knows about the card so much, and you don't really see them play into it often. So at least me personally, there's always something in the back of my mind that says do not play into that, into the extra monster zone column, to be able to let somebody make an Anima. So, but yeah, just really solid 3 of. And then you have your 1 Fire Engine and your 2 Turbulence. Turbulence, just being able to set 4 on a single go, this card is just insane. And then it has the ability to pop a card. It does everything. It does, as I used to say, it does your taxes and does your laundry all in one card. So I think it's just being able to set a lot of your traps and utilize a lot of that. I think it's really important. And if you have this and Hydrant on the field at the same time, then it's really good. Now we get into our traps. Again, you just have the 2 right here. You have Extinguish and you have Contain. Really, really good traps. I love these 2 traps. I thought, again, I mentioned earlier, if I was going to run the 3rd one, I would run Reinforce, just because right now it's just one way to have another set if you're running out of options, which I don't think will be too much of a problem. And then, of course, you have your Rescue, your Alert, and your HQ. Definitely, again, I think you could probably bump this up to 2. I really like HQ, just being able to recycle your stuff and just being it's really sustain heavy. I really like being able to do that. And a lot of these 2 cards, of course, you know, just general utility that you'll probably need later on down the road whenever you're playing. So I think these are standard 1-ofs because you can keep recycling them and just keep reusing them. And then, of course, your last quick play that it just absolutely claps. It's the one card, if you see it, you're doing great. Emergency. Emergency is just insane, guys. Come on. This card's been around for a minute. I think Dune, this card came out and everybody's like, it's pretty good. And then after RescueACE started taking the meta by storm, it's like, oh wow, it's way better than what we expect. So I really like this card. I think it'll do really. I think RescueACE is kind of unharmed. Even putting Airlifter to 1, it's still a really good deck. A lot of people still playing it. And that kind of does it for the RescueACE part of the engine. So we'll go ahead and get into one thing that nobody wants to see that is dummy expensive right now. And that, of course, is your Diabell Star engine. I only run 1 because I don't have 3, simply. Thought about bumping this card up to 3 in my my Snake Eye, or not my Snake Eye build, shoot, the Fire King build, because this is a one card combo in that deck. So just being able to send a card special, grab original simple spoil Snake Eye, and then be able to pitch her into a Ponyx is insane. Or just being able to go into Snake Eye Ash and then go into Flame Burge and do your full combo like that. I think that's really good. So this card in this deck could be at 3. I'm thinking about just getting one more to bump it at 2, just cause. But I think again, this is a 40 card flat build. It's kind of streamlined. So got your one Black Witch, and then of course you have your expensive card, your Wanted. Way too expensive, but you know, it's a really good card. It's able to search you out your Diabell Star. So, and this card I think will be, if it doesn't get hit, if it does get hit, I'd be surprised. But if this card doesn't get hit, it's going to be able to search pretty much any of the new Diabell Star support that's coming out in Legacy of Destruction. So good to note that as well. This will probably run in that as well for like the illusion stuff that people are seeing from the Diabell Star line anyway. And then of course you have your one original simple spoil to grab whatever, to grab your Hydrant mainly. And I did run Jet Synchron. I cut that list because I decided to do a somewhat fusion heavy list, because it makes it easier to get into Abyss Dweller with this list, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's fact, but just the way I like to play the deck. So, and plus Super Poly right now is just insane, right? Like there's just so many things that that people play into Super Poly. Hand traps, you got your 3 Ash, which again, most generic hand trap in the game right now. Honestly, I've debated on siding Ash at one point, but you know, I don't think it's the wisest choice. I think I'll just end up siding out these, just kind of, or taking out the Imperms. Again, these are two of the most generic out there right now, and I think that's really important to have. But man, you got to be really, like right now with Fire King being on the rage, it's almost not a bad idea to add something like Ghost Spell or Draw onto the main board. So something to keep in mind. And this is the reason why, this next card is the reason why I say I like to run I don't run the Jet Synchron packages. It's because I run Super Poly instead. And this card is just able to, if it's able to go into a Mud Dragon during your turn. So it's, again, this card just can't be responded to. It's one of the most broken cards in the game to be able to fuse off your pretty much anything that your opponent has. And with the new Yugioh support stuff, you could probably throw a Yugioh package in this deck to fuse off away your opponent's board. Use Yugioh as a hand trap during the battle phase, and then flip Super Poly, fuse off their entire board, then burn them. So I think it's really, really good to have. Utility cards, we have, of course, your 3 Prospies. Just really, again, just being able to dig for 6 is crazy. Surprised this card did not get hit. So, and then, last but not least, we have your talents, and we have your Rhoda. This searches your Airlifter, so it's a pretty much essentially another copy of Airlifter if you need it. But that's pretty much the main board. Talents is just so generic, you kind of want to use it. I don't run Thrust in this build because you simply do not need it. as crazy as that sounds, like as in this case, you really don't need it as of right now. Now the extra, as of right now, again, I do have my targets. There is one card that I would like to change that I will mention. First and foremost, we have your tokens that I stock at standard, and I got the OTS Field Center. So what we have here is we have your Link Karibo, and we have your Charmers. Probably not going to use this as much. I thought about cutting this. The only reason I have it in here is for Diabell Star. Just in case you see that and you can go into dark and you want to yoink something out of your opponent's graveyard, you can use Diabell Star. So that's the only reason I have dark in there. Of course, you have Sunlight Wolf. This card is just great. Come on, in any fire deck, this card I think is almost a must. Being able to link off, and then whenever something special or normaled into a zone it points to, being able to add back to hand a fire monster is crazy. And then of course we have, I only run 1 SP because I don't see, I know you can easily use 2 in this deck, right? But I don't know, I feel like there's a lot more utility cards that you can use now that can just kind of cover your bases with what you need, so I only run 1. Next one we have is you have your IP Masquerena. Again, quick link during your opponent's turn, really good. Proxy F, this is what I was mentioning earlier about being able to get into your Mud Dragon. If you're going first, you're going to be able to use Proxy F to go into your Mud Dragon, and then go into your Abyss Dweller if you so need to, with either Airlifter or, actually it might be just Airlifter. Look here. So we have, yeah, because you're going to be able to use Airlifter. I don't, if you didn't notice, I don't run Fenrir in here either. I just don't. It's a good utility card, but it's like a hand trap pretty much. So, or it's like not a hand trap, but it's another form of interaction. But I've kicked around the idea of throwing it back in here, but I'll just have to wait and see, because again, this is like my first time playing this deck. So I'm gonna play it around. I'm gonna play with this deck Saturday, and that'll be one of the top deck archives coming up too. So you guys will get to see what all I've got going on. Next links we have is the Soldier of Chaos. Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of people run this, but this is your anti-runic card pretty much, and I think it's good to have. So, I mean, being able to do, 3 different things, it just gives you a toolboxy card. So, we also have your Appaloosa, we have your Access Code, and we have your White Woman Jump Scare. So, you IP into this. You can also just go into Access Code during your turn for OTK, and you have this for, again, your IP to quick link off with your opponent's monsters once they commit. So there's the links, and then the last ones here, we got 3 fusions and an XYZ. So of course we have your Muddy Buddy. Gotta have your Muddy Buddy. You got your Garura. I thought about running multiples of this card because it is just really, really good. Being able to draw a card is really just phenomenal in this game. Dragostapelia, of course. Really against your fusion matchups here. Good against Tier. Tier is still floating around every now and again, so I like running this card to super poly off a board. And then, of course, you have your one Abyss Dweller. So Abyss Dweller is your, it's pretty much your anti-Tier card as well as your anti-Fire King card. With Fire King floating around, you'll want to use this. And with the release of Maze of Millennia, it would not surprise me to see Buzz King go into a lot of builds because of Abyss Dweller. Being able to rip a card from your opponent's extra deck is way more important than what people expect it to be. Being able to just go to your opponent's extra deck and be like, okay, Buzz King, because overlay 2 level 8s during my turn, and then just immediately be like, okay, let me see your extra deck, let me rip one. That's going to create a lot of different game states where you're just going to be like, okay, the opponent's going to be like, okay, here you go, and you're going to get all that information, right? You're going to know exactly what they're playing. Or they're going to be like, okay, let me see your extra deck, and they're going to be like, okay, game 2. So they're not going to want to give you any information. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get into the side deck. So it's kind of stock and standard to an extent anyway. So, but what is your favorite list that you guys have seen with RescueACE? Let me know down in the comments. And while you're sticking around, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Again, we're coming up on right around 100 subscribers. I do plan on doing something for you guys right around 100. So stick around and see what we got going on. So let's go ahead and get into this, to the side deck. We have your 2 Lightning Storms and your 1 Duster. Probably, I think this is going to be mandatory in a lot of lists coming up. These cards are just really insane to have right now, especially with Labyrinth getting transaction rollback, RescueACE mirror matches, being able to get rid of Sanctuary and a lot of other things. It's just a lot of utility. So I find this extremely important to have. Next card, of course, we have your recently semi-limited Pankratops and your recently limited Snatch Steel. Now, why do we run Snatch Steel, right? I think it's just going to be another way to, I needed to fill a spot. And it gets around a lot of this unaffected card effect stuff because equipping gets around that, right? So this is going to be really important to have. Are you going to see it a whole lot? Maybe not, but it's still going to be something to have to be able to get to see it every now and again. And Pankratops is just great. It's just another way to remove cards like Skill Drain, and just be able to rip through cards on the field. Next card we have your 3 Droll. Again, I thought about maining this card because there's a lot of decks out there that just search for days, and I think this is going to be really important, especially where, again, we're between Phantom Nightmare and now. There's a lot of cards that just search and search and search. So this card's really important. Thought about maining it. Next card we got is your Nibiru, your big angry space rock. Just really good. I mean, I keep saying that, but you know, space rock, and nobody wants to see an angry space rock during their turn. Come on now. But it's going to be able to shut off games. It's going to be considered a win con during some games. Like if you're playing Salamangreat, you drop a rock on them, it's probably going to win. You're probably going to win the game. So, but there are times where you will drop this card. You just won't have enough gas to finish, but it will put a damper on a lot of things. And then the last card, which might be kind of weird to see, but Side Shifter right now. Am I going to keep this? I don't know off the rip. I know this. I've seen people say that they've used this because this deck can run D-Shifter, but it does kill the consistency of some things. So I'm probably gonna test and tweak and tune with it. Again, this weekend's probably gonna be the first time I'm actually gonna be able to play this deck somewhat competitively. So I'm going to try to do some testing and tweaking and tuning on this but as of right now, I've heard this card can be ran in this deck, and I've seen some people run it and they're just able to kind of crank through D-Shifter, but there's decks that just cannot play through Shifter. For example, Fire King can't play through Shifter. Tears, again, still out there, can't play through Shifter, so I think this card's going to still have some sort of relevancy. But guys, that's a deck profile. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you like the deck profile. Let me know what could be doing better. What you want to see next. Again, I'm always open to new ideas. I always say that. We're a growing channel, just trying to figure out what we're going to do. But let me know down in the comments what you want to see next, guys. And don't forget, try hard, try hard. See you next time.